And we're on. Dr. Nimarjeet, thanks for being on Fitness and Consciousness.
Thank you for having me, Ryan.
So you are a Ayurveda doctor, and I guess just give us a bit of your bio. Like, how did you get into it? Where do you live and practice, and just what is your story that led up to this?
Yes.
Okay, we're back on.
Okay. So basically, see, in Ayurveda field, my passion was to become a teacher. So I always wanted to be a teacher, but my father wanted me to be a doctor. So I didn't get admission in MBBS. That's a modern pathy. I couldn't get admission to that. At that time, there was an option of Ayurveda. So it was a field of interest to me already because I always used to do a different trial with some home remedies of something like, skin problems, dandruff. So I was always attracted towards Ayurveda anyhow. So I joined that. But being my hobby as teaching, what I did was I took this into a transformation of being an Ayurvedic health coach. Yeah. So I started with that. So now before my marriage, I worked in kind of dispensaries, spreading Ayurveda, and you can say spreading the awareness regarding herbal medicine, the traditional medicines. And after marriage, I worked with several organizations like Patanjali Chikitsalaya. So now since 2 years, I am working on my own as a health coach. So what I do is I spread Ayurveda. I teach Ayurveda. I teach my patients about how their body works, how they can overcome their own body problems. I teach self-healing. I teach spiritual healing through Ayurveda, through the basics of Ayurveda.
Yeah. So where do you live?
I'm from India, in Pune. There is a state, Maharashtra, and the city is called Pune.
And is there like a lot of Ayurvedics? I see like in the West, like I'm in the middle of America, and there's like more and more people becoming aware of Ayurveda. A lot of the yoga classes, or a lot of people like find it through yoga classes, I guess you could say. And I used to go to a yoga school that had Ayurveda as just part of it. And like in India, is it still like growing? Is it still like the main thing, or is it becoming more like Western medicine?
No. Now, basically the traditional medicine scope is very much growing in India also. People are now getting aware of the importance of the traditional medicines and following the traditional, you can say, lifestyle. The reason is now wellness is being actually given more importance than treating the illness. So, and the main reason about the attraction of even the Westerners towards, Indian spirituality and tradition is that, see, in Ayurveda is many thousand years old tradition. So whatever was said in Ayurveda long back till date, the treatments are done on the basis of those those books which are having the mention where the treatments are mentioned regarding what disease requires which kind of treatment. So there is no new research. So when we talk about modern medicine, what we see that every day a new research is done, and after 10 years another research comes over the previous research. So there are always the changes which are coming up in modern medicine. But the Ayurveda, what it was 1,000 years ago, it is same today. So whatever the principles of Ayurveda were, years back, so today also it works on the same principles. So I think that's the reason that now people are getting aware, people are starting developing the faith in Ayurveda in terms of treating the root cause, to treat the disease, and in terms of prevention rather than cure.
Yeah, you said something interesting there, and it was you said the faith in Ayurveda. I thought that was
Yes, faith.
an interesting way of putting it. I don't want to like put too much into that word, but what do you mean by faith in it? Like, do you mean just like something simple as just like trusting that it's going to work, like these herbs or whatever they're, or like what did you mean by faith?
See, there is always a concept behind every treatment in Ayurveda. Whatever is mentioned, it's not that this is a disease and this is the treatment. Along with the treatment, when we open the books mentioning the treatment of any diseases, there is a separate attachment with that. That is the prevention, how this disease can be prevented. Then what are the prodromal symptoms when, for example, a patient develops a diabetes, which is most, getting common day by day, diabetes, disease like diabetes. So the prodromal symptoms, people are not aware of the prodromal symptoms of diabetes. In Ayurveda, 1,000 years back, it was explained in the books that there are few prodromal symptoms of every disease. So when disease starts showing up, it is actually being seeded inside your body long back. So there are some prodromal symptoms which appear and we ignore, taking it just casually. So there are some prodromal symptoms explained in the books. Then they are on the basis of what Ayurveda physicians normally work with. This is called as Nadi Pariksha. So that is checking the pulse, checking what kind of toxins are getting accumulated and what can be the future of these toxins in terms of a disease. So this is called Nadi Pariksha. So it is based on prodromal symptoms. Then is the symptoms, then the causes, what can be the cause, then how to prevent the cause to prevent the disease. Then along with the medicinal treatment, with every disease, Ayurveda also mentions kind of foods which we need to take to prevent and to manage this disease, and the kind of lifestyle. Along with the food, there is something called lifestyle also. So what time to get up, what kind of foods to eat, what kind of clothes to wear, all these things come under Ayurvedic lifestyle. So in Ayurveda, it is known as Dehar. So along with the medicine, there is a food and lifestyle treatment also mentioned. So when we actually, teach the patient how we work, and when, or say any person Googles. So now today, Google is the most important tool to understand any kind of, if I have any problem, I will first go on the Google and search what are the things going on and what are the alternative therapies which I can take to prevent jumping into directly into allopathy or modern therapy. So when anyone reads the kind of treatment mentioned in Ayurveda, so definitely when it is detailed so much, 1,000 years ago it was detailed so much, so the trust ultimately starts developing in alternative therapy. And second thing is that there is no such thing called dependency on the Ayurvedic medicines. You can easily taper off the dose and remove the medications as and when required without getting any kind of addiction to the body.
Yeah, that is a really good point, because there's so much trouble that comes from a lot of like these opioids, like over here, it's like really common for people to get addicted to their painkillers, and causes all kinds of problems. You were mentioning the pulse. There was a time I was going to get like certified to do Ayurveda. I didn't go through with it, but I got a book by Vasant Lad. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's and it was called Secrets of the Pulse. And it's like this whole, it wasn't like a real thick book, but it was just about like the different kinds of pulse and how to tell what's going on using like the 3 fingers. And so do you do, when you're like listening to the pulse, like, can you just like describe maybe like what it is that you're looking for? Is there, it gets pretty subtle. It takes a long time. You can't just like figure it out in one day, right? Doesn't it take a long time to be able to read someone's pulse this way?
Pulse. You are asking about reading the pulse, right?
Yeah.
With the 3 fingers? Okay.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't take time. So as soon as patient comes, it's a simple examination with the 3 fingers. So we, because there are 3 nadis, that's a very interesting topic. I will definitely discuss in detail today. So there are 3 important nadis in our body, which are called Ida, Pingla and Sushmana. So on the basis of that nadi examination, which nadi, which pulse is overactive, which pulse is hyperactive, and which one is uniform. On the basis of these 3 nadis, we decide a kind of disorder a person may have. So with by checking this pulse, we don't get to know, we don't come to know the disease, but we come to know the root cause of the disease. And that's how the Ayurveda works on. So if we know the root cause of the disease, either if it is a vata dosh, vata toxin, if it's a pitta toxin, maybe you can say an air element, or fire element, or water element. So whatever is the reason, we will treat that, and the pulse will be uniform. So basically, 3 fingers are used to examine the pulse, to understand that which toxin is the reason, which toxin is the reason for the problem. So there are 3 toxins inside the body. In Ayurveda, they are known as doshas. Nowadays, every person is aware of those doshas, vata, pitta, kapha. So there are around 80 to 100 diseases under every doshas. So once we know that the cause is vata, we treat vata and the disease is treated. Once we understand that reason is the fire, increased fire element inside the body, we treat the fire element. It is vitiated. We actually suppress the vata, pitta element, fire element, and the disease is treated. So this is how pulse examination works. Along with the symptoms, we also work on the root cause. So to work on the root cause, we need to check the pulse.
And how long did it take you to learn how to read the pulse?
Yes.
How long did it take you to learn how to read it, the pulse?
It takes long. It takes practice more than, learning part. So we are taught in the 3rd year how to read the nadi, but it's not that easy. So when we check the nadi for 100 patients, then we understand the basics of the pulse examination. So we understand which toxin is vitiated, and we have to treat which part of the toxin. And after then, the second stage comes for the diseases. Like then second stage is diving deep into the pulse. Then we understand what kind of disease under that element, vitiated element, can be the this is the reason. Now the diagnosis also can be done through pulse examination, but that will be only with the experience. It's not that easy. It took me around, you can say, I'm practicing now for 11 years. So every day I think, I know today better than yesterday about the pulse. In the pulse, I understand it, even in a better way.
Yeah, the book that I was reading, I gave it to a friend of mine. She got her certification for Ayurveda, and I gave it to her, but it seemed like it was something that was going to take a long time. And so, like, when you were able to, as you're able to like feel the pulse and the nadis in someone else, are you able to feel your own better? Are you able to like tell like what may be a little bit off in you and correct it before it becomes a problem? Like, can you actually feel, maybe even without taking your pulse, can you feel your nadis?
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, it's not that easy how it seems to be. The pulse, the rhythm of the pulse, this is the right word to use, the rhythm and the pattern of the pulse changes according to the time of the day, changes according to what food I have eaten. If I am empty stomach, so there will be more space inside me, void. So at that time, by default, my air element will be more. Okay. So if I have just eaten and my food is getting assimilated, digested, so definitely my pulse will show more of fire element. Okay, because of the digestive fire which is on work to digest the body, food. So this is how, this is like, if suppose in the afternoon, we say in the afternoon, in the lunch hours, maybe from noon to in the evening 4, by default, fire element is high in the atmosphere. So your body responds according to, because our body is made of 5 elements, and everything and anything in this world is made up of those 5 elements. So this is always in response to what we are eating, whether we have eaten or not, what kind of season it is. So every season, our pulse changes in every season with every disease. So one thing is, which is confirmed, is the nature of a person. That is called Prakruti. So in Ayurveda, it is called Prakruti, otherwise the nature. Like suppose I am, my basic pulse is, if I check my pulse, so normally my fire element will be higher. So my digestion is good. That means I have more of, pitta symptoms, the fire symptoms inside me. So this is how the default nature. But this is very rare. It's only in the empty stomach in the morning, okay, when I can actually determine my nature of the pulse, a natural nature of the pulse, natural pattern of the pulse. Otherwise, in any time of the day, when what I have eaten, it depends upon what I have eaten. It depends upon whether I've eaten or not, or what kind of food I have eaten. If it was heavier food, the pulse rhythm will be little towards heavier side.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. So I guess that maybe that brings us to the chakra system, and I guess I think most people are going to be somewhat familiar with the chakras, and the different things that I've read can say some different things. Like one book might say, well, the chakras are related to the nerve plexuses. So they're trying to have more like, partly like Western, but more physical, like stuff that you can prove. You don't have to have, everybody can agree that we have nerve plexuses, right? But then you talk about chakras,
Yes.
and people are unsure. But then, so some books will say that the chakras relate to the nerve plexuses, and then some other book by, someone else will say, no, they're not. They're all in the Sushumna. The chakras don't go outside of the Sushumna. And then something else might say these are just like psychological levels. So can you give us your take and maybe clear some of that up?
See, chakras, yes, there are many kind of variants, views, various views. There is a variety of views towards the chakras. My knowledge about chakras is not that vast, but yes, the foundation, the base of the chakras, I can tell you very well. So chakras in our body, basically, they are definitely related to nerve plexus. How? Just recently I told you that there are 3 kind of pulses inside our body, main pulses, which is Ida, Sushmana and Pingla. So wherever inside our body, there are some intersection points of these nerves. So the intersection points of these nerves, these nadis, there are the sources of life force energy. So those intersection points, those centers of where these nerve plexus form by intersecting each other, the intersection of these nadi, those are called chakras. There are 7 points in our body where there is an intersection of these nadi. So definitely chakras are related to nerve plexus.
And
okay, so yes.
I was okay, so you mentioned the 7, and I think that's what most people are familiar
Yes.
with. And I've read a book before, and I happened to have an experience that kind of showed me that there might be more than that. And like, for instance, I was reading this book. I think the book was called Laya Yoga, or I'm pretty sure that was the book it was. but I was reading the book, and I was in my car. I used to drive a cab, and I'm reading the book, and I felt this drop on my leg, as like a raindrop, or like if I had a drink and the condensation like dripped on my leg or something like that. But it wasn't raining. I didn't have a drink. I was just reading a book, but I felt this drop on my leg. And so I looked at my leg, because I was like, where did that drop come from? And there was no drop there. There was nothing, actually, there was no raindrop. There was no drop from a drink or anything. But I know that I felt this drop, and I looked at it and I was like, wow, that was really weird. And I turned the page, and then I read about I think it was like part of the like third eye chakra. Then there's other like smaller chakras around there, like guru chakra, soma chakra. And it said one of the ways to tell if your like soma chakra is activated is you might feel a drop somewhere on your body. That was like 30 seconds. I read it like 30 seconds after it happened to me. So I didn't read it before, and then like put it together in my mind, and my soma chakra must be. I felt the drop. Was like, well, that was really, really weird. So I mean, it was just, I felt it. And then I turn the page and I read about it. So do you get like into these like lesser known ones, like soma chakra, like, or what's your
see there? Yeah, which is known as the bro chakra or the third eye chakra. So that is the sixth chakra. So to come spiritually to that chakra, it takes sometimes lifetimes. It takes rebirths also, because the first chakra is at the base. Can you just pause the recording for 1 minute? I'll just give you, I just find out the diagram so that I can show, it will be better if we go through the image and then learn about chakras.
Okay, I'll hit pause.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back on. Can you hear me or?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we're back on.
Okay. So we were talking about the chakras. So these are the chakras. Okay. So the first chakra is at the base. That's the root chakra. So basically what I am going to tell you now is the chakras are associated with the body in two ways. One way is spiritually, how we experience the life force energy of each chakra in all the stages of life. The other is, that is the spiritual effect of the chakras. The other are the physical effect of chakras. Every chakra is responsible to govern our organs. So the root chakra is responsible for governing the root organs, the excretory part of the system, the solar plexus chakra. So there are many chakras, from down to up, so which are associated with the which governs different organs. So when there is a balance in the chakras, those organs work well. When there is an imbalance in the chakras, the organs start producing disorders. So the physical effect of the chakras, we can get at any stage of our life. Okay, but the spiritual effect of the chakras, it is not easy to get the spiritual effect of chakras, because that is a life force energy. So for the first, second, third stage, it is little bit easier. So once it comes to the fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh stage, sometimes it might take lifetimes to achieve that, the topmost crown chakra. So first I will tell you what are the 7 kinds of chakra in a very easy language, so that it is easy to understand. So first is the root chakra, which is at the base of the spine. It is also called a tailbone chakra. It is at the tailbone basically. Okay. Then is the sacral chakra. Then comes the solar plexus. Solar plexus is just above the belly button. Sacral is just below the belly button. Okay, below the navel and above the navel. Then comes the heart chakra. So it is near the heart. Then is the throat chakra, near the throat. Then is the bro chakra, which is known as third eye chakra. And then is the crown chakra, which is along the hairline. Okay, so one by one we will take these chakras. So the root chakra, which is present at the base of the spine, physically it governs our excretory system. It's a root at the base. So every kind of excretion is governed by this chakra. So if there is any imbalance in this chakra, diseases like constipation, because it is responsible for excretion. So when there will be imbalance, excretion won't happen properly. The diseases like constipation will happen. Diseases like the female disease like with no bleeding is happening, infertility. So these are with the imbalance of the root chakra. So this is the physical, and it is also associated with, we say it, fight and flight response. So basically, when we fight, or when there is, suppose we fear something, okay, so then there is an increased urge of either bowel movement or increased urge of urination. So this chakra is associated with that response. When we are in plane, we are flying, so the kind of sensations we get, there is a fear, there is an excitement, there is a restlessness. So this chakra is responsible for all kind of fights, flights, fright responses of our body. So this is how physically it affects our body. This chakra is very important. So spiritually, the first stage of the life, right from the zero, from the infancy to the 14 years, till the teenage, till the time a child is guided by relationships, under the influence of the relationships, whatever mother says is right, father says is right, a mentor, teacher. So till that age of life, this chakra is responsible spiritually. It gives a life force energy at that time. So I told you that if this chakra is basically underactive, the diseases like constipation and less bleeding or no bleeding or infertility happens. Okay, so this is till 14 years of age. Then comes the solar plexus, sacral plexus. Sacral plexus, the location I told you, just below the navel, just below the navel. So right from the 15 to 28 years of age, the stage of life which is associated spiritually with this is 15 to 20. If we will experience the life force of this chakra, it will be between that age, from the 28 years. So the element which is associated with this chakra is the water element. This is also known as ego stage. And the at this stage of life, if you observe, between 14 and 28, the most powerful life force energy we experience is the importance of money, importance of power, importance of sexual relations in life. So this is governed by this chakra. So when it is overactive, then a person is too much egoist. Spiritually, I am telling you its effect. Then a person is too much greedy. When it is underactive, a person will be very shy, very introvert. So such kind of spiritual problems, life force, I can say kind of subconscious and subconscious mind issues are associated with this chakra. So if we come on kind of glands, it is associated with physically, it is associated with again the reproductive system. So when this is overactive, then there is a greed, there is a sensation of a high ego. When it is underactive, there will be all the problems associated with the reproductive system of the body. So this is about the second, which is below the belly button. Now comes above the belly button, which is also known as solar plexus. So age of this plexus, the stage of the life which is associated with this plexus is 29 to 42 years of age. Now, first stage is very easy. Everybody experiences the life force energy of first stage. Second is also easy. Third is little bit of difficult stage because we start getting maturity over here. Some people are able to experience it in, little late in life. Some experiences on time, but some experience starts little late on time. This is a third stage, which is a mental stage. Second was the ego stage. First was the survival stage. Second was the ego stage, and this is called mental stage. The responses, it is associated with self-esteem. It is associated with discipline. So discipline, basically the age which is mentioned in the books is right from the 29 to 42. But some people experience its energy, say by 35, 36, they start getting disciplined with their own lives. So this is the right age when there is an awareness what is right and what is wrong. So this is the mental concepts. So it is associated because it's above the above the belly button. So this chakra physically is associated with stomach, liver, gallbladder, spleen, basically complete digestive system. So when it will be underactive, our digestion will be disturbed. So we will be getting problems like hyperacidity, this gallbladder stones. There will be problems like sluggish liver. There will be problems like acne, because this is also because of the sluggish liver. Skin problems will be more at this stage of life if this is disturbed. Okay, and spiritually, if this is overactive, then because it is related with confidence and self-esteem. So when it will be overactive, a person with overactive solar plexus will be super aggressive in nature. Super aggressive. We see many people who lose temper immediately. Their solar plexus is overactive. Am I making sense? Like, is it very clear to you, or is it confusing?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah, I think most people are going to know, have like the at least have heard of them, and so yeah, I think it's easy to understand.
So basically, now next is the heart. I'm explaining the basics so that each and every who is watching, each and every person who is watching this video is able to understand basics at least. So, and one more thing which I'm not covering it up because it will be too confusing. For every chakra, for balancing every chakra, there is a yoga asana. There is a kind of breathing. By breathing, you can actually keep these chakras in balance. So in Ayurveda, everything is mentioned, the treatment of everything, the prevention of everything. So it's only the awareness part which we have to actually switch it on in our body. Okay, so next comes the heart chakra. It is very difficult to uplift ourselves from the solar plexus, solar chakra, to the heart chakra. It is very difficult because when it comes to the heart chakra, it is an element where a person becomes selfless. It's a stage of selfless love. But being selfless and being human at the same time in today's time is little difficult. So very less people experience, and when they experience, it is in the later stages of their life. So basically it starts after 52 years of the age till around 68, 70 of the age, the people who experience this. Then onwards, we can say 52 years onwards, people experience the life force energy given by heart chakra. So when it is underactive, heart attacks are more common in elderly people. This is the reason, because it is underactive. It's imbalanced and it is underactive. When it is overactive, then the possessiveness in the love relationships, insecurities in the love relationships, super obsession in the love relationships, it comes from the overactivity of this heart chakra. So this is as simple as it is. From the third chakra, to uplift ourselves from the third chakra to fourth chakra is difficult. But when there is a momentum, from the fourth, fifth is very easier. Once we reach the fourth, we reach fifth chakra very easily, which is near the throat. So it is related to physically all the thyroid issues. If it is balanced, thyroid problems will not be there. If it is imbalanced, there will be hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, there will be speech disorders, any kind of throat disorders. So it is related with that. Then comes our third eye chakra. Now this, when you have gained the momentum, it is easier, but to spiritually activate this chakra, sometimes it takes rebirths. It is not easy. So the people who have the interest in the spirituality, they will attain it at very early stage also, but some will never attain in their whole life. So this is associated with the lower part of the brain and the left eye. So any kind of, if it is underactive, so tumors, the brain tumors happen because of the underactivity of this plexus. Because physically it is having effect at every stage. Okay, but spiritually only few people are experiencing its life force energy, as I said earlier too. So the left part of the face and the brain is associated physically with this chakra, and spiritually it's a sixth sense, it's an instinct. Sometimes at a very young age also, 8-year, 9-year-old boy will feel kind of instinct and it will come true. We see something in dreams, and next day, it is in that is the third eye. So it can be activated at any stage of the life. And some people, they don't experience it complete their life. So this is a third eye chakra which you were talking about. And then comes the crown chakra. This is the source of all the energy. So once this chakra is attained, throat chakra is attained, then uplifting over here, it detaches you from all kind of emotions. It detaches you. You are there. You are attached but still detached. It is very difficult to understand this, but when you master this crown chakra, there is complete detachment. There are no fears of death. There are no fears of losing any relationship, because now you are at the highest level of the spirituality. So basically, meditation is something which keeps all the chakras in control. So this is how, when we say meditation treats physical diseases, people don't understand how meditation can govern physical diseases. So this is the base. Basically, our physical body is influenced by chakras. Chakras, they govern they program the mind. Mind programs the body. So when we do the meditation, the chakras will stay balanced. Definitely our physical body systems, digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, reproductive system, excretory system, they will stay in balance. So this is how meditation can prevent and treat the diseases, by keeping a balance in all these chakras. So this was some basic idea about the chakras. So if you want to ask anything about it, if it's in my capacity, I will reply.
Okay, so when I mentioned, I guess it was called the soma chakra, where I felt the drop on my leg, and then 30 seconds later, I read about how that's a sign that your soma chakra is open, and that's like part of like your third eye. Do you get into those like ones that are like lesser known, or do you like believe in those, or was that just like, you think that was like just some kind of weird coincidence, or like what's your thought of that?
See, as I said, that third eye chakra can be activated at any point of time. See, when you will start focusing on one thing, your thoughts create the reality. So when you are focusing on the spiritual being, so you will start having those telepathic experiences, you will start having those spiritual experiences, the third eye experiences. So you want something and that thing will approach you, is again a third eye experience. So definitely that was a third eye experience. That time this chakra was activated. But this chakra can get activated at any point of time and deactivated at any point of time. But more you get into this, more you dive deeply into this, more it will stay, the longer it will stay active in your lifetime.
Yeah, because I think I was explaining it kind of before we recorded, I think, but it's like I can believe almost anything. So I've read about all this. I got my first yoga book when I was 15 years old, and it was mostly like, it was by Prabhupada, and so it was like Krishna consciousness stuff, and like I could tell like by the pictures in the book that there had to be something real about it. There had to be something. There had to be spiritual truth, because you can't make paintings like that without like some spiritual power behind it. I don't think it's possible for someone to paint something like that and not have a deep spiritual knowing, or so it's like when I'm looking at these pictures, and you can look at it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and you see more and more and more and more and more. And like, it takes a long time to look at this picture. You notice more and more. It's like, man, how did they do that? So, and I've had like all kinds of experiences that are kind of like beyond the everyday mundane kind of stuff. So it's like I can like believe almost anything. So I hear like these stories of like maybe these yogis in Tibet, maybe they kind of like fly, or they're able to like jump really far. They're running through the mountains, and it's almost like they're weightless and they can almost fly. So I can kind of believe that these people can fly. And I can also believe that that's ridiculous. So it's like I have kind of like the same. It's like if somebody says, "Oh, I can fly," okay, well, I don't believe you, but somebody else, I can also believe it at the same time. Like, okay, you're in the mountains and it's really hard to walk through these mountains. So if you figure out how to fly, that's a lot more convenient. But so it's like I'm kind of both. So I'm like really skeptical, but I can also believe anything. That's I can believe the most esoteric stories I've read about all these, like the yogis of doing all sorts of things. But I also know there's a lot of frauds, and like I see like what's his name? I don't know. I can't think of his name right now, but he has the like real big hair, like real big. I can't remember his name right now. He's real famous. Yeah, his incense is really famous over here. I don't know why I can't think of it, but he was like supposedly like performing miracles in front of people, but really he's more just like a magician. He's like fake. He's supposed to like. I know you would know him if I mentioned him, but he like supposed like cough up these like gemstones, and it's like, no, you're not. That's fake. It's a magic trick that you could learn how to do. It's sleight of hand. That any street magician can say that's ridiculous. I can do that too. So I don't know what got me on that little path, but I guess like coming from India and like kind of like seeing both. There's you see the frauds, but you see like, do you see people that can really do these miraculous things, or like maybe like when you started learning about the pulse, even something like that, and the nadis and the chakra systems, and were you at first like, I don't really believe this, but then after 5 years, 10 years, 11 years, you're like, oh, that stuff that I thought was ridiculous is actually true. So I guess I don't know what my exact question is, but what's your take on sorting out these myths, the stuff that's not true, and the stuff that is true?
Okay. See, regarding this, what I would like to tell you that everything which is mentioned in the Ayurveda books, okay, I still follow Ayurveda books rather than, finding any solution online. I have all the books which I studied in my college time. So whenever I need any solution, I refer to those books. So whatever is mentioned there, it has a science behind it. So I will give you a small example regarding, you just mentioned about gemstones. So gemstones, basically everybody personally, they don't believe that it has a scientific value or it has a treatment value in it. But Ayurveda believes in it. I only have a basic idea of this how, but it is truth. So the fact is what is mentioned there with a proper science behind it. But nowadays, you are right, it is manipulated also. So the manipulations done, so they are actually weird and they can go to any extent. The sky is the limit. So, but yes, gemstones can help in treatment. A person having a high spiritual energy, having all the balanced chakra, can fly, because it is kind of, it's like not, that's a balance of the body which makes anybody, fly. So that used to happen with the yogis who used to have a control on their nerve plexus system, on all the chakras, all the intersection points. It used to happen at that point of time because it is mentioned in the books. So I will tell you the science behind gemstones and healing. So gemstones, as we discussed even lately, that every body is made up of 5 elements. Okay, so that is earth, space, air, fire, and water. Our body is also made up of similar elements. So gemstones are designed accordingly. So suppose there is a ruby, or suppose there is a diamond. So these are the stones, and sapphire is a stone. So whatever deficiencies I have, so suppose I have a disorder which have a deficiency of element earth. So I will be prescribing, I will be prescribed to put the gemstone which is having higher earth element, so that it can give me the energy, the force energy of that metal, of that element, to keep me balanced in terms of my 5 elements. So this is how it works. So it has a science behind it, definitely. So all the 5 elements, the gemstones are made of the combination of the elements of the single element. Some like the ruby only signifies water and fire. So some are the combination of 3 elements, 4 elements. So when we diagnose the patient with the deficiency of any kind of element, or the aggressiveness, the hyperactivity of any kind of element, so we ask them to wear the gemstones along with the other treatments also. See, treatments are done for symptoms also. So for symptoms, it's always a medicinal treatment. The root cause can be treated in number of ways, and gemstone is one kind of way out to treat the root cause of the diseases by balancing the elements. And we just studied chakras. So every chakra is dominant in one element. So when there is an imbalance in the chakra, one of the reason behind is the deficiency of the element or the hyperactivity of the element. So basically each and everything, anything and everything in this world is Panch Mahabhut. So these are 5 Mahabhuts considered as 5 basic elements which form the body, which form the whole universe. So whole universe is basically made up of these 5 elements. So they are interrelated. It has a science behind it. So whoever has the knowledge can treat the diseases with gemstones also.
And so what about like the colors of the gemstones and like the colors of the chakras? Is this, so I think I've read the chakra system was written about I don't know how long ago, but a long time ago. But then adding the colors to it was not so long ago. And like like behind me, I think you can see it. It's pretty sure it's supposed to be the heart chakra, heart lotus, and it's a certain color. It's like white green, but it has blues in it and stuff. Which anyways, and then when I was reading in this book called Micro Chakras, it talks about like the 147 chakras. Each of the 7 has 21 small ones. But then it talked about how like the animal for the heart chakra is the deer. And so I read this book a long time ago, but then I just got it from the library again recently, and I saw the deer thing. And I've had this like weird kind of fascination with deer. I go to there's this really big cemetery that's close to where I live. And when I want to go see deer, instead of going out to the woods around here to a park, I usually go to the cemetery because there's less people to scare away the deer. So can you just like speak on that? Like do you believe like the animals associated, the colors, and like what else might be?
As I told you that the whole universe and our body, so in the universe the animals are also covered, the plants are also covered. So when we are made up of same elements, so definitely there is some correlation between animals and the chakras and the gemstones and anything which is made up of all these 5 chakras. So I cannot comment on particular color or particular animal associated with the chakras because my knowledge about it is very limited. I gave you the basic idea about it. But yes, it is also having a science behind it, because the animal is also made up of some elements which can actually sync up with the elements of a heart chakra, and collectively they can be connected. We can call it, they are linked through the 5 elements. So if suppose the heart chakra is dominant in air element. So if the deer structurally it has a air element in hyperactivity of the air element or dominant air element in it, so definitely they can be linked up as together.
Yeah, it's fascinating how everything is connected, and I often see like a lot of symbolic meaning in things. Like if something happens or I'm talking with someone, like I just see how it happens. Like things like might be simple, but to me, I see like how like the metaphor. Like I see things a lot like metaphorically. So it's not just like I saw a deer, or if someone mentions something to me in a conversation, or something happens,
Okay.
I see like the deeper and deeper meaning all the time. So something like that seems really simple, I see how it connects in all sorts of ways that are maybe like seemingly unrelated or that other people aren't looking at. It's like the deer, like maybe how they're like real graceful. They can jump real high, real easily. And so like mention like the air and the,
Yes.
I forget what my question was going to be at the beginning of that. So what you were talking about the meditation to balance the chakras. So like what kind of meditation do you do, or do you recommend like different kinds, or what do you?
See, in meditation basically focuses on breathing. So now, if we talk spiritually about meditation is for mind, medicine is for treatment. So when we are taking medication, so it is for the body. When we are doing the meditation, it is for mind. So as I said earlier, by doing the meditation, we are actually programming our mind, and the mind, when programmed, is programming the body accordingly. Okay, so now there are many kinds of meditations. So whatever the thought process we have while doing the meditation, that is how our mind is programmed. There is no particular meditation for, if I say that there is a diabetes problem, so there will be a different meditation for diabetes, and for blood pressure it will be different, or for one chakra it will be different, for another chakra it will be different. No, basically it is all about focusing on the chakras, initially focusing on the breathing. So once our inner mind calms down, then we start focusing upon one by one, right from the root to the crown chakra. So once we start focusing on those chakras, we start cleaning those chakras by our breathing, the power of the breathing. So when we start cleaning those chakras, so this is an internal detoxification process through which all the toxins from the chakras accumulated in the chakras, they are cleansed. It takes time. It is not done in only one, meditation session. It takes time. So basically, meditation is not a treatment. It is a way to life. It is way to live life. So if we are meditating daily, so then the lesser toxins will be accumulated, and the detoxification will be an easy process and will be on day-to-day basis. So to keep a balance in all these chakras. But we also discussed that it is very difficult to jump from the third chakra to the fourth chakra. So even when we are doing meditation, we are cleansing our chakras. It is still not easy process to reach the heart chakra. So it is not an easy. We can always cleanse up to the solar plexus. Above the solar plexus, it becomes little difficult. So when people start meditating initially, so what happens is they start feeling a sinking condition, the sinking feeling. They start feeling any breathing problems. They cannot hold the problem. There is continuous distraction in the thoughts. So initially such problems come. This is because of all the toxins accumulated in the chakras. This is because there are chakras where we don't have a control. We can meditate and start from the root chakra, but coming up to the heart chakra needs a total awareness, a total presence of heart, mind, body, and soul. So that's why there is no definite meditation for any kind of disease. It's like basic meditation, the understanding of what meditation technique is, how to master the meditation, and how to actually do the visualization process. The power of visualization is huge in the meditation. And then how to clean chakras one by one. So when we are meditating, it need not have the understanding of all the chakras, but definitely of all our body parts which require that attention, which require that process to actually to improvise our complete system. You can say complete body system and the mind system and the soul system. So in Ayurveda, there is a different, which when my post-graduation is in Panchakarma, that's a body detoxification, and Manochikitsa, that's a mind detoxification. So basically these both goes hand in hand. So whenever you open the books, so now whatever books you are mentioning, they are the, modern version of all the things which are described in the older books. So we have read all the older books. So whenever we read any treatment for any particular disease, so there is a medication treatment, then there is a mind treatment for same disorder. So if a person is diabetic, so mind treatment, how many times meditation, how long he has to do that meditation, on what, like pancreas is responsible for diabetes. So what kind of meditation, what kind of visualization, which organ visualization he has to do in meditation. So this is a Manochikitsa in Ayurveda. Then is the gemstone healing. So in suppose diabetes, the earth element is high, earth and water element is high. So to compensate that, so what kind of gemstone will be required to wear? Then is the Kai Chikitsa. Kai is a medicinal treatment. So to balance all those doshas, which kind of food items will be required? Then to balance that Vat and Kapha, because it's a heaviness. The earth is very heavy, so it represents a heaviness in the body. So that's how obesity is responsible for diabetes. Sedentary lifestyle, the heaviness in the body is responsible for diabetes. So to balance that, a lifestyle having exercise, which makes the body lighter day by day. Then the treatment in the lifestyle is the exercise. Treatment in the food is a light food. So treatment in the gemstone is any gemstone which has more of air into it rather than earth. So this is how balanced treatment is recommended in Ayurveda, which most of the physicians don't follow nowadays. Yogis definitely follow these treatments. That's why they are connected to the higher level of spiritual energy.
Yeah, I like how just like the treatment, like you get immersed in it, because it seems like a lot of times in the West, it's like, okay, you go see the doctor, he looks at you for 5 minutes, gives you a prescription, and then maybe he sees 50 people in a day or something like that. And the amount of people getting prescriptions, it's just crazy. And there's so much of it's not, it doesn't involve the lifestyle and making like these life changes, and you can really turn around a lot of problems if you make it like your life, instead of just, oh, I have this problem, I take this pill and I don't make any other changes. So I like how just immersed you have to get into the treatment for yourself, or the prevention, to you just like become that way. And one thing that I've been trying to put together is, like, through my like I've been studying this kind of stuff for most of my life, since I was a teenager, or even before, really. And something that I've tried to put together was like these different systems, whether I train like in martial arts, or I'm learning about health, or like strength and fitness, yoga. One person says it's like this, another it's like that. And so what I was like a Taoist system, or whatever. I look for like Chinese or Indian, Japanese. So a lot of the times I was looking at, okay, this Japanese system says this, the Chinese system says this, and the Indian system says this. Okay, what is the same? So what can I figure out that's the same? They all agree on this, this, and this. So I'm going to accept that as a fact, and I'm going to practice that. And if one person says this and one person says the opposite, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to practice what they all agree on, and then build more and more. So what I was finding was, okay, so the like Chinese acupuncture, the meridians, and the Indian system with the nadis. it seems like they're very much the same, but maybe there's some differences. And the chakra system and the system, like the Taoist system of like the Tantians. So I was trying to put together, and like, you know, like the microcosmic orbit. It's like where you, like, the energy goes up the spine and then down the front, and then it connects like the lower, middle, and upper dantian. Are you like familiar with that system also? And is there a connection between the chakras and the tantians?
In the chakras and
The tantians, like the energy fields, like the lower dantian, the middle dantian, and upper dantian, like the Taoist system. Are you familiar with that, or?
you mean to say the energy vibrations?
Yeah. So like, I'm trying to think of another way to explain it. So like in like Taoist meditation, like you're focusing on like your lower dantian. So if I'm standing up, it's like 2 inches below my navel and 2 inches in.
Yes.
And then the middle dantian, and then the upper. So there's 3.
Yes.
Okay.
So see, it works on the same principle. Basically, when you are coming, I was telling you that, you know, when we are experiencing the life force energy, so it is very easy to experience the life force energy of the first chakra. So coming from lower to higher, it takes time and it takes awareness. So slowly and slowly, so when there is a momentum and we reaches the heart chakra, so there is a more awareness. So when we reaches the throat chakra, there is more awareness. So definitely there is an shift in from the low frequency vibrations to the higher frequency vibration. So they work on the same principle. The only, you know, the path towards coming to the crown chakra or to that the sense of awareness, they are different. I think they work on the same principle. So there are many ways to, you know, come towards the center point. So they follow the different path, but their the principle is the same.
Yeah, so I can feel the microcosmic orbit. I can do it pretty much at will and use it for. I don't know if I want to get into all that, but I can feel the microcosmic orbit. So to me, it's like contract the perineum, pull perineum up. I can feel it go up the spine. It stops like in the front by the third eye, and then on me, so there's been times I felt it go down the front, but for most of the time, for me, it starts to fade. But I can just almost at will feel that energy of the microcosmic orbit, and so I was just like trying to, like in my own way, like how these systems work together. And I have I mentioned like the thing, like feeling like the drop on my leg, and then 30 seconds later reading about the soma chakra. And I've also seen the Sahasrara in a dream state. I wasn't really asleep, but I wasn't really awake. And I've never had I haven't had the same experience since then. This was several years ago. I don't even remember how long ago. But I could see it, like and I saw it as it was kind of like like maybe like luminescent, like kind of like purple, green, like different kinds of purple maybe, and it kind of looked like my brain. So, and I took that as being the Sahasrara. That's how I interpreted it, and I've never had that kind of experience since then. But when when people are experiencing these different levels of the chakras, or like the yogis see them, like some people will say it looks like like the tapestry behind me, like this, it's this lotus, and each one has a mantra, a sound on each petal.
Yeah.
And then other people will say like, oh, it's more like a vortex. And then so people's like experience. So can you just like speak of like what that is? So like what I saw, I know I saw it. I was it was me, but it seems like a little bit different than what other people see. Like, can you just like speak of that? Like how do we know like what's going on, or is it like, should we even bother focusing on that, or what do you?
See, Ryan, it's very vast. The chakras is a very vast subject, because it is where it is connected to the tradition, where it is connected to the line of treatment. It is also connected to the religion, the Hinduism, okay, and the Buddhism. So these two religions are strongly connected with chakras and gemstones. So there is a manipulation of the original theory as well as the belief and the thought system of those people. So who used to believe in this. So yes, to balance those chakras, there are mantras which are chanted along with as I told you that to balance the chakra, there are many yogasanas, many breathing pranayamas, breathing patterns. They are recommended to keep a balance in those chakras. Similarly, there are many kind of spiritual mantras to chant to keep those chakras in balance. So it's a religious aspect. Basically, I am not aware of all the chakras, all the mantras, which mantra is used to balance which chakra. So more you get into it, more you understand. So more your understanding will be, the more spiritual you will be becoming. And I think that you are onto a higher level of spirituality. So you are having such experiences, every time there's a different experience, more you are diving into it, you are having a different spiritual experience. So all this is definitely fun and joy. But it is deep rooted to the tradition and the religion. So people of those religion, they had a different thought system, they had a different belief system. So they used to follow tradition, as well as they used to link their belief system with that. So that is how the mantras started linking with this. And the physicians or the yogis who treat the problems with balancing the chakras, they definitely believe in chanting the mantras also. Sometimes they heal by chanting the mantras, sometimes they give the mantras to heal yourself. So this is how the system works. So this is very vast. Sometimes, we cannot relate everything to the current lifetime. Ayurveda also says that there are many kind of diseases and there are many kind of treatments which are linked with our previous lifetimes. So as we take rebirth, so these systems get conditioned in ourselves and they show up as some of the knowledge, some of a kind of awareness, or some kind of disease. So it is all linked to our previous lifetimes also. So this is very vast. This is very, very vast subject. So everybody, that's why you were saying everybody have their own thoughts. So because there are many belief systems also associated with it. But whatever is mentioned in Ayurveda, it is still the same which was there in 1,000 years back. It has not changed. The thoughts associated, the belief systems were linked into it. They were removed from it. But the original books, whatever they say, are the original, that's the original version. And that's the only thing which I go along with to treat my patients.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. The stuff that like lasts over time, because people will put their own views in it. Because if I say, no, this is what the Sahasrara looks like, I saw it. And then somebody else is like, well, I saw it too, and that's not what it looks like. So I don't want to say that I think someone else is wrong. And so I just kind of, I've like wondered, like maybe my energy system is a little bit different than yours. Maybe there's like mostly in common, but maybe mine is just different. I have an Android phone and you have an iPhone. Pretty much the same thing, but kind of different. So maybe like my body, I was given this kind of energy system, and you are given one that's a little bit different. And so if I'm saying the Sahasrara looks like this, I saw it, and you're saying, no, it doesn't. It looks like this. Maybe it's just like, maybe like both are true. So maybe that's like where some of the discrepancy is over time, is because people see different things, or they're interpreting in our language. Like, so if I'm telling you something like what the Sahasrara looks like, I can't use words to say it perfectly. I don't know all the words that there are, and I don't think people can like really. I think language just starts to kind of fall short of where of our direct experience, so it causes confusion. And also, I think that there's a lot of people that, and they have to start somewhere. You can. I think there's a lot of people teaching yoga, and then they're teaching
Yes.
about they're teaching about chakras, and they're teaching about these, but they don't have any direct experience of it. They hear something,
Correct.
they read something, and then they say it, but they don't really know. They're just yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I have a real question there, but.
Correct. They have the surface knowledge. They have not actually gone into the depth of the understanding. So that's why you understand, like whoever, like suppose you are talking something, and I don't know, I'm talking to you for the first time. But when you are talking spirituality, I can make out that you have a deep understanding of the spirituality. It's not that you have read one book and you are asking me questions. You have the deep knowledge. So that's why there are bundle of questions. And one thing I agree very strongly, that every body system is different, because even though you are made up of 5 elements, I am made up of 5 elements, but my elements acceptance system is different. So if I have higher of air element, you have higher of fire element. So definitely, so our bodies are not one. They are not same. So your body will definitely accept, my body will accept sun salutations. Your body may not, drive energy from them. So this is true that every body responds to the treatments or to the activities in a different ways. This is absolutely true.
Yeah, it's very fascinating, and I like how it just never seems to end. Like like something that seems like it seems like, okay, it's 7 chakras, and you can pretty much get it in 5 minutes. You can just read about it and understand it. But then you can, like 5 years later, after studying it, then it's even more complicated. And then after another 5 years, it's even more complicated.
Yes, even after 50 years, you will realize, the knowledge which you had, 1 week back, your current knowledge is again, more conditioned. More you get into it, more you understand, and you more, better you. Eventually, you turn into a better person spiritually, because this is all interrelated. Everything is related to the next thing we are going to learn. So every day when we are upgrading our knowledge, we upgrade our spirit, ourselves spiritually also. So you are right here. Whatever I have told you today, so it's a basic knowledge which you might be having already. So when the same thing, suppose we will be conducting the same kind of interview maybe after 10 months or 10 years. So it will be on even a higher level of it. Even if we discuss the same topic, it will be completely, much into depth, much into more understanding. So that's how it is. It's very vast. So to understand it completely, you need many years, many years. So it's not that we read one book and we understand what is chakra and how it works and what kind of meditation we have to do, what kind of, it takes time. It takes time also, practical experience also, to actually experience all these things by ourselves. Then only, I can assure my patients, okay, you do this, definitely it will happen with you. So this is quite a deep area of the knowledge.
And what something I was wondering about is, so for some reason, um, I've always been like fascinated with the area, like India, Tibet, Nepal, and so like my ancestry. My mom is from Germany, but we had our DNA tested, and it's more like Scandinavian. My dad was more like around like British around there, so I'm like mostly Scandinavian, and but I think that area is interesting, the Vikings and stuff. It's very interesting, but for some reason I think I'm I don't really read about it very much, but I'm always reading about stuff from India, Tibet. I'm fascinated with these stories, and I have been for a long time. But it doesn't look like at least in recent history, I know we're all connected, and I get that, but like, why do you think India is so interesting to almost everybody? It's really the only country that I want to go to besides, like, I don't really feel like I need to like travel around. I'd like to see different places, but if I can go anywhere in the world, I want to check out India and, the places that are around it, like there, like, Nepal, Tibet, and I want. Why do you think that is?
As an, yeah. As an Indian, I'm feeling honored when you are saying this. See, there are two aspects of this. One thing is, as I told you, the fact about it, that the tradition, the roots of an Indian culture, okay, so they are same, which were there 1,000 years back. They are still the same, and people who follow them religiously, they get those certain outcomes also from that. But regarding you having an inclination towards India, one aspect is that, but the main aspect which Ayurveda believes, because I'm an Ayurvedic physician, so I will tell you everything which is linked with Ayurveda, as I discussed about the previous lifetime. So sometimes there are some connections, some karmic connections which are related to previous lifetime. This is what Ayurveda believes. Ayurveda believes, Hindu religion believes, and Indian religion believes in that. So when you are nowhere rooted in to the India, but still you have such a huge fascination and inclination towards India. So an Ayurvedic person, basically who is connected to Ayurveda, will always take it as your karmic connection with this country, with this land. So that is why, when we are saying everybody is different, so maybe your brother, your sibling might not be having such kind of fascination. Also, you are born and brought up together. So this is something which is related to our subconscious. This is not something which is you are consciously attracting, but more you are getting deep into your subconsciousness, more interest and inclinations you are developing towards this country. So this is how it is.
Yeah, I do wonder, because sometimes I'll have like dreams about it, and but I was just kind of like thinking, like, there's someone who's she'll be coming on my show pretty soon. She's in India or Nepal right now, so she's from Canada, but she's a yoga teacher and she's a bodybuilder, and so she was going to come on the show, but we're waiting for her to come back from India and Nepal and checking those places out. So it just seems like there's such this fascination, like not just me, or it seems like so many people want to go there, and like they feel like some like a spiritual like need to just like be there. And like I was just watching something yesterday. It was about like the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and like somebody was just talking about how there's like it feels good to like go home, like the place where you were born. So it's like, yeah, maybe I'll somebody moves from somewhere to like, so maybe like say somebody moves from India to the United States, and they live in a nice place. They have, everything's nice and everything's good, but they still want to go back home. It's like, why? Why would you want to go back somewhere when everything is fine in America, why do you want to go back home? Okay, yeah, I see people that you know, but like something that's connected with our, like the place that we were born, there's something special about it. So when you talk about like the special or the past lives, and I can't say that I really remember my past lives or anything, but I wonder like if there was one and I was from India, or I was like, so maybe I was born there before. And then, so now I live in Indianapolis. The first part of Indianapolis is India. So I live in Indianapolis right now. And, you know, supposedly from like, you know, from the Indians, like from like Native American stuff, but still it has India in the name. I think that's kind of interesting. But so you think you think that's like kind of like part of it, like what people that feel like this need, and then other people, they don't care about India. They want to go to Jamaica. So do you think that's like part of it? Like maybe in a past life we were from India, or that's why we want to go there?
So I didn't understand your question. So this is what we were discussing, that this might be related to the past life also. So this might be related to just an desire to visit any country, but the desperation comes from anything in the past life. So the kind of curiosity, kind of desperation, kind of emotional attachment with the country where you have never been, but you are always inclined, it comes from the past lives, definitely. So it is it's a fundamental of the karmic connection with any person, with any specific country, with any specific area. So that is where, like, what it is all about.
And you think we can see our past lives through meditation? Some people say that they can. Do you believe this too? Like through meditation, like if I just do it enough or correctly enough, that I'll be able to see them, my past lives, and know what they did?
See, this is very higher level of spiritualism, because see, I have not experienced it personally, so I cannot comment on it. So whether it is possible, or people just say it on the surface to get any kind of publicity, but it might be possible. The kind of concepts Indian culture has, it might be possible when you are at such a high spiritual level that you are completely devoid of all the worldly attachments. You are detached from the life itself. Then it might be possible that you are able to see your past, you are able to see but and this science is called hypnosis. When you actually, you are forced to, you are made to go into your past lives and understand like from where the current situation comes from. I am not the expertise in hypnosis, but yes, I read a book, Many Masters, Many Lives. So this was all about, past lives. So a person yourself, like you yourself, if under the influence of the hypnosis, you are put, under the hypnosis, this treatment to go into your past life, when you will be come back into your senses, then you might not remember anything what you saw in your past, but what you will be definitely, exploring your past life while under that hypnosis period. So it's really difficult to tell what is the reality, but it happens. It is also a science. So people who are into it are, able to explain it well. So they can see the past. I can see my past if some good hypnotherapist come and, forcefully make me go into my past life. But when I will be in my senses, I might not remember even a single thing unless he recalls anything and he, makes me hear it out. So this is really something which is still unexplored area of my life.
Yeah, there's so much to explore. I see we've been on for about an hour and a half here. I could talk to you about this stuff for forever. But I can start to let you go. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you were wanting to get into?
Yes.
Is there anything that you haven't talked about that you were wanting to talk about, or do you want to start to finish the conversation?
No, it's okay. We can finish up the recording. Yes, we can finish it up. See,
Okay.
Ayurveda is very vast, so there are lots of things to talk about. But then, yes, we have already talked about, a lot of things. So now we can finish it over here.
Yeah, I'd be glad to have you on again and dig into more of it. Is there like, like what are your final thoughts? What do you want to leave the listeners with?
I will say to the listeners, I will advise them to always go with their sense of awareness. Anything and everything can be a truth if your thought processes start creating that as a truth. So when I say that, meditations and medications together, they can do miracles, and then it is truth. I say this to all my patients: program your mind to program your body to live a disease-free life. Because basically, disease is nothing. The absence of an ease is disease. So absence of an ease comes from mind. So when we are talking on physical level, the medications are important to treat the disease. When we are talking on spiritual level, meditation is important to prevent our disease. So meditation and medication forms a miracle combination to treat, anyone and everyone.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, thank you for coming on. I'd be glad to have you on again. And so we'll go ahead and finish it there. And do you have like contact information if people want to contact you, or do you have anything you want to promote?
What kind of contact information you want from me?
Do you want, like if people want to get a hold of you, do you want people to get a hold of you for your practice?
Okay. See, for my practice. See, I practice in Pune, the city of state Maharashtra in India. So if anybody want to get in touch with me for any kind of treatment on a spiritual level or maybe on the physical level, so they can mail me at Dr. Nimarjeet Rajpal, DrNimarRajpal, Dr. Nimarjeet Rajpal @gmail.com. So they can get in contact with me on that way.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'd be glad to have you on again for sure. So I will. I'll stop the recording and I'll talk to you for just a second after I hit stop.
Yes. Thank you.